All right, welcome back today. We're going to pull back the curtain on the one secret that powers literally every single word an AI reads and writes. And trust me, once you see this, everything else about how AI works is going to click into place. Okay, so you've been there, right? You're like an hour deep into this amazing complex chat with an AI. You're really getting somewhere. And then all of a sudden it completely forgets what you were just talking about. Or you give it a giant document to summarize, and it just stops mid-sentence, like it just ran out of gas. What is going on with that? Yeah, it is so frustrating. It's like a total memory wipe. And I bet you're sitting there thinking, wait, I thought this thing was supposed to be a genius. And look, it is, but it has this, well, this very specific kind of short-term memory. What you're hitting isn't a bug or a glitch. It's actually a built-in limitation, and it's key to understanding everything. And the culprit, the thing behind this mysterious memory wipe, it has a name. It's this secret force that's controlling the whole shebang. And it's called a token. Seriously, once you get this one simple concept, you'll finally understand exactly why your conversations get cut short. And more importantly, how you can actually get the most out of these incredible tools. So what in the world is a token? Okay, think of it like this. It's the atom of AI language. It is the absolute smallest piece of text that a model can even look at. See, AI doesn't read words like you and I do. It sees the world in numbers. Tokens are basically how it chops up our messy human language into neat little pieces it can actually understand and process. Now you're probably thinking, okay, easy. One word equals one token. And hey, sometimes you'd be right, but it's not always that simple. The AI is actually a little more clever about how it breaks things down. For example, take the word learning. For us, it's one thing, but to an AI, it might actually be two separate tokens, learn and ing. Why does it do that? Well, by breaking words down into these smaller, meaningful chunks, the model gets way better at understanding grammar and can even make a pretty good guess at new words it's never ever seen before. It's pretty smart, right? So what actually counts as a token? Well, it can be a whole word. Sure, like apple. It can be a little piece of a word like that ing we just talked about. But get this, it can also be just a piece of punctuation, like a question mark or even a single space. Yeah, it gets that tiny, that granular. Okay, so you need a practical rule of thumb, a little cheat code for your brain. For English, here it is. 1,000 tokens is about 750 words. So think of it like maybe a page and a half of a regular book. Just kind of lock that ratio in your head. It's super useful. Here's the best way I've found to picture this. If an AI's response is this big, amazing wall it's building, then tokens are the individual Lego bricks. Every single thing you type, and every single thing the AI types back is just it stacking these tiny little bricks one by one to build the final thing. Okay, so we have these bricks, but how does that lead to that crazy memory wipe? Well, that brings us to the next massive piece of the puzzle, the context window. Every single AI model has something called a context window. Just think of it as its working memory. You know, it's short-term attention span, and the absolute best way to picture it is to imagine you're trying to work at a ridiculously tiny desk, like comically small. You can only fit a certain number of papers, or in this case, tokens on that desk at any one time. And here is the absolute kicker, the part that almost everyone misses. That tiny desk, it has to hold both your prompt and the AI's response. So let's say a model has an 8,000 token limit. If you dump a massive 7,000 token document on its desk, guess what? You've only left it with 1,000 tokens of space to actually write its answer back to you. Not much room to work with. So what happens when that tiny desk gets completely full? Well, to put a new piece of paper down, you have to take the oldest one and just slide it right off into the paper shredder. And that is exactly how the AI's memory works. As soon as the conversation hits its token limit, it starts forgetting or shredding the very first things you talked about, just to make room for what you're saying right now. Now, this whole limitation thing has kicked off a total arms race in the AI world. You've probably seen the headlines. Companies are flexing these massive, insane numbers for their context windows. Which brings us to the age of the giants. And the big question, does size really matter? Okay, let's try to put these numbers into perspective, because they get crazy fast. A pre-standard model a little while ago might have had an 8,000 token window. That's what? Maybe 20 pages of a book. Then advanced models jumped to 128,000 tokens. We're talking a whole 300-page novel. But now we're seeing these new-gen models with up to 2 million tokens. That's not a book anymore. That is an entire library of books. So bigger is always better. Case closed, right? Well, not exactly. While having a gigantic context window is awesome for analyzing huge documents, there's a catch. It turns out models can sometimes struggle to keep track of every little detail when they're swimming in a vast sea of information. And this leads to a really interesting problem that researchers call the lost in the middle phenomenon. Check this out. This is basically how an AI's attention works. It is laser focused on what you say at the very beginning of a prompt and at the very end. But all that stuff you bury deep in the middle of a huge document that can get lost in this kind of cognitive fog, the AI might just skim right over it, completely missing the point. So how do we take all this inside info and actually use it to our advantage? It's time to stop being a victim of the context window and learn how to master your prompt. Let's make you a token pro. First up, let's talk about the money side of things, token economics. If you're using any of the pro AI tools, you are paying by the token. And listen, not all text is created equal. Simple English, super cheap, very token efficient, but complex programming code or other languages. They can burn through way more tokens for the same amount of information, and that'll drive your costs up. And don't even get me started on repetitive text. That's just pure token. Okay, here it is. Your cheat sheet to becoming a token pro. Number 1, be concise. Every word counts. Save tokens. You save money. Simple. 2, if you have a long input, structure it. Use headers, use bullet points. Guide the AI's attention. 3, watch your output reserve. Always leave plenty of room on that tiny desk for the AI to give you a good answer. And finally, number 4, if the AI starts getting weird and confused, just reset the chat. Don't be afraid to start fresh. But if you remember only one thing from this entire explainer, make it this. This is the golden rule for beating that lost in the middle problem. Whatever your most important instruction is, the one thing you absolutely need the AI to see, put it at the very beginning or the very end of your prompt. It is almost guaranteed to pay more attention to it there. So here's the bottom line. Tokens aren't just some techie jargon to ignore. They are quite literally the Lego bricks of the entire AI world. And now that you understand how to use them, you have the power to build way smarter, more reliable, and more powerful things with AI, and hopefully you'll never have to deal with one of those frustrating memory wipes ever again. So there you have it. You know what the bricks are now. You understand the foundation. The only question left is what kind of masterpiece are you going to build? Thanks for hanging out, and I'll catch you in the next one.